Your course selection is done. They're taking functions and advanced function next year. You can put calculus and vectors along with the functions. All right, so that's cool. Let's move on. So do you guys see it right now? This is the process called completing square. Yes, sir. What? Oh, I didn't share my screen here for you guys to see it. Okay. All right, so we're gonna move back to the questions here to practice. So express in vertex form, but I will do another example so that you won't see. What if I have something in front of the x? So let's do this. I don't have a 1, but I got a 2. The process is easy. Take the first 2 terms, take whoever in front of the x is a common factor. So you get x squared plus 5x, isn't it? So far so good. Now we're going to complete the square process, x squared. So what I need always, half of b squared, which is 25 over 4. I need 25 over 4 minus 25 over 4. The 9 is outside. The whole thing is x plus 5 over 2 whole thing squared. But that minus 25 over 4 there plus 9. So y is equal to 2 times x plus 5 over 2 whole thing squared. Because you see that I need to multiply by the 2. And then minus 2 times 25 over 4 plus 9. You can simplify that. So that's 18. These come in multiple. 2 times x plus 5 over 2 whole thing squared minus 7 over 9. So in this case, I can say my minimum value is negative 7 over 9, isn't it? Kavi, are you seeing the process? Yeah. So all we did it, we take that number in front of the x as a common factor. So we just highlight the first 2 terms because the previous one is pretty straightforward. In front of the x, I got 1. So now I'm going to be right on my notes. You can go back to the handout to write it. All right, so we're going to go back to the handout. Expressed in vertex form. First step, insert a bracket around the first 2 terms. So that has been done for you. Divide the coefficient of the middle term by 2. So because we took the minus 2, so we're going to divide the coefficient of the x by 2. So if I divide it by 2, that is going to be negative 2. It's going to be negative 6x. All right. Now, add the subtracted constant to keep the equation balanced. So what constant we're going to do it? The constant is b over 2 whole thing squared. So minus 6 divided by 2. So 9. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to keep the 9. We're going to multiply by the minus 2. Minus 2 times minus 9 is negative 18. Now, the whole thing is a perfect square, x minus 3. Minus 18 minus 7 is negative 25. So what's the vertex? 3, negative 25. Equation of the axis of symmetry. Y is equal to 3. X is equal to 3. So the vertex x coordinate is the equation of the axis. The optimal value. So the optimal value referring to max or min. 1 second, who's coming? What's happened to this guy? Doesn't he know the class time? Yeah. Yes, sir.
I didn't get this package.
Oh, you were not here last week?
I don't think so.
What?
I don't know.
Sure. What happened yesterday? What? How come you can forget? What? Accident? The forgetting is the accident? This guy messaged you. He even mentioned there was a class. You need to check Instagram all the time. What? There will be a lot of updates. We touch upon something that last class. What you guys learning? That's okay. You got the handout. Did you get my handwriting handout last class? Sure. How would you say? I printed out for everyone.
It's the only one I got.
Let me see what you got. You came last class. So how do you miss it? There's no way you can miss it. So I didn't photocopy. And then how come you're late to my class? Huh? What? I think I need to talk to Dad.
Don't you just walk to class?
What? He can't walk to the class. He's living close by. So he's lazy. That's why. 5 minutes? All right. So how do I miss this? Okay. I need to talk to Dad. All right. All right. So I need a print. So I don't have a copy. I don't have it. So let's print for you. Do you have enough pages to print? All right. So that's on my right side. What you're learning on the functions at school? Well, what you're learning in functions at school? You don't even know the unit. Good luck. All right, sir. He's the expert right now. You can meet him this break. Yeah, so he's an expert. So you can meet him tomorrow in Tim Hortons. He will teach you. There's a Starbucks close to your house, right? Yes, Starbucks is the best. Just give some American business. All right. Solving quadratic. Okay, here we go. No, I'm just taking a grade 10. What I'm doing in grade 11 class. Chapter 3. Again, let me print that on you. That comes along the way. So let's move on here. So the optimal value referring to maximum minimum value. So let's see caveat. Yes.
I took the homework.
What?
I don't think I took this class work. Like last class, you gave it to me. I don't think I took it home.
I can't print it for you, lady.
Also, she has something to say.
What? Who? Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. I think I need to punish these guys. People who doesn't come, you just gonna be writing on your paper. Okay. I need to print another copy. Okay, let's move on. The max, write it down. Maximum minimum value until I print it. Maximum minimum value is going to be here, -25. We're just going to be the max value. Direction of opening. What is the direction of opening, sir, for this function? What is the direction of opening? Open downward, that's right. So because of the negative. And it's optimal value, max or min. We already mentioned it's going to be max. So can you guys do the next question? Now you try. I'm going to be good. Okay, I will print it for you. So can you pass some of the white papers? And her? No, not that one. Then inside that. Yes, that's one, that one. Thank you. I need to print 2 sets. Here we go, sir. I will print that for you guys. Let's see how you guys do this. Print. I need 2 copies. 10 cents per page, okay? Hello. Yeah. I think I'll charge you that.
Buy you a pen and give you 10 cents.
Yep, that's right. The pen is a little expensive, but this is cheaper. All right, can you guys complete a square for the next 2? Let's see how would you guys do that. Each one of them have a different technique involved. If the number in front of the square is not 1, you have to comment factor. the number in front of the x squared is not 1, you need to take that number out. So what is in front of x squared? So we have to take the negative one this time. So remember the process is same process. You're going to put a bracket for the first two terms, right? Then you take the next step, you take the right? Divide the coefficient of the negative term. But before that, factor of the coefficient from the binomial. So we need to take the minus one out. So if you take the minus one out, you can still write it. Hi. I think I need to find out what's going on. Correct, but I don't really see the process here. You haven't skipping some of the steps. Oh, no. I'll share the screen again, so don't worry. Yes, my Zoom goes. Did I stop my Zoom? Oh, I think I end the Zoom. Oh, why did I do that? Why I'm doing that? Okay. All right. All right. Oh, he's there. I'm gonna share the screen again, sir. Okay. Can you see the screen, sir? Hi, Kevin.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay, I just didn't make sure I may just YouTube live. Okay, that's on. So there's a one mistake on your algebra. You done, sir? Let me see. Where do you get -7 from? I have a different number, sir. Outside is a -15. Where's the -7 come from? Huh? You're looking at the previous question? Let's see. Okay. So you guys see that I don't ask the questions like a Lego block. I'm not giving the same question. It's a different question, okay? But the approach is the same. I don't think so that you guys exactly follow what I said. First step, we're gonna put the bracket. So I am not sure how many of you did that. You have writing so many steps. That's the first step. Next step is asking you to take whatever in front of the x squared as a common factor, -1. X squared negative 10x minus 15. I don't think so anyone wrote that step. I know you're expert on skipping the step, but make sure you show all the steps. Next step, x squared minus 10x. Half of negative 10 is 5. Negative 5 squared is 25 minus 25. Now we do. Hello? Yeah. Today I'm busy. Tomorrow we're going, sir. I'm teaching right now. Can I call you later? Okay. That's my little guy. You want to go out for more? All right. Are you guys following that? I don't think so. Anyone have wrote the step in, and do you understand your mistake? Okay, you didn't make that positive 25 when you multiply by -1, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. The next step is f of x is equal to, this is the perfect square. So x minus 5 all things squared. And then 25 minus 15 is going to be positive 10. Makes sense? Oh, I just printed out, so I'm gonna give you guys the copy. All right. Unit 3 review. That's 2.5. Pass it to her. Give me. All right, can you do the next one, please? See if you understand the process. I show you exactly what you have to do. Follow the steps. So, on the first step, what did I do? I rewrite this term. The first two term I with a bracket and then on the 6. I only did the common factor on my second step. So on my first step, where's that step? Huh? Where's the first step? Put a bracket 4 between the first two terms, right? We didn't do that. I know you can skip the step, but I just want to make sure that you're following that. First step is correct. In the second step, what do we do? In the second step, don't we take whatever in front of the x squared as a common factor? Well, you don't even negative 1/2 because positive 1/2, right? So you have to take that out. And then based on that, you're going to write the inner term. You need a calculator, divide 2 by 1/2, 2 by 2. Okay, that's okay. All right. What's up?
How do I affect this?
So what is 2 divided by 1/2?
4.
Then you write the 4. Okay. All right. So what do we do here? F of x. I would like to see some of your work before I proceed. That's your calculator. Okay. Are you allowed to use mobile devices at school? Okay. All right, I will do this one for you guys, new technique, because you got a fraction, but I want to see you're writing the whole step the way I am doing it, okay? Plus 6, f of x. We're going to put the 1/2 out, which is x squared plus 4x plus 6. Make sense? Then we're going to complete the square. Oh, by the way, how did I get the 4? Because I want to find out if I take the 1/2, what should I write here? Take this number 2, the b, and divide it by the common factor. So 2 times 2, which is 4. So 1/2 x squared plus 4x. What is half of 4? 2. 2 squared is 4. 4 minus 4 plus 6. Then what do we do? We rewrite this together. And then I multiply 1/2 by the guy I subtracted. So 1/2 times it by 4. And then we know this is going to be a perfect square at this point. Kevin, are you following that, sir? Kevin?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. I will really want to see if you can deal with a fraction and negative number. These questions are pretty good. Find the maximum and minimum values for each function. Do not use decimal in your work as a final answer. And they all have a different technique, but I really wanted to see if you can deal with an ugly fraction. So let's do E. If you understand, you can do the E. Can you guys do the E? All good, sir? Well, okay. So can you guys do the E? Yes.
Right, awesome.
Yeah. So very similar to the last question I have done. There's no difference. Have to take whoever in front of the x squared as a common factor, right? Make sense? Okay. Correct. You would like that there first. Let me see. So if you look at the previous one, to find out what should I write, let's go back to this. I take this 2, I divide it by whoever I took outside of it. You can use a calculator to find the number. And that's exactly what you have to do. You take this number, you divide it by whoever you took outside, and that number will go. Okay, make sense? Oh no, my Zoom has disappeared, so he can't see it. And he can move around. All right, so let's see, Aaron, your work. How's it going? Done?
Not yet.
Okay. You're done with this unit, that's cool, isn't it? Okay. What you thinking, man?
It's dividing
Dividing what?
1/4 by 2/3.
Really? Is that what you're waiting for?
Just to
Okay. There shouldn't be no decimal number. In your answer, in your work, there shouldn't be no decimal numbers. What's up, Aaron? Let me see your progress, sir. One times it by 300. Progress is correct, but that I think the third step, you mess it up. Let me see about your progress. All right. Correct. Correct. That. Keep going. Let me see, Val, how far you done? Correct, keep going, sir. You need to do the completing square process inside. You done?
I did right.
You're on the right track, but there's a way to simplify the number you're working with. Let me see. So you got this right. So this step is right. Correct. Right. And then you need to find a half of this, isn't it? 308 times it by 1/2, which is better than 3/16. You need to add the square. You need to add the square of it and subtract it, which is 9/256. 256. That will go in the next step. On that. Then you keep the 4 outside, right? Looked like you guys didn't learn completing square in grade 10 class. Okay, where I'm talking about a grade 10 math so far, except the complexity. So let's do that step. Y is equal to, we put the 2/3 out, so you got x squared minus 1/4 divided by 2/3. So 1/3 times it by 2/3. So let's do some simplification. If I do 1/4 times it by 2/3, times it by 3/2, which is 3/16. Now, what I really wanted, I'm gonna write that first. 3/16x, and then plus 4. The 4 is outside. What is the next step? 2/3 x squared minus 3/16x. We need the half of that, isn't it? So what is half of that? 3/32. Are you guys following that? So we need half of that. Oh, I already got no, I didn't get the half of it yet. And then we need the square of that. So 9/32 squared. And in the calculator, 32 and 32, 1024. So we're going to be at 9/1024. Subtract 9/1024 plus 4. So you guys need to see the step. I took the 2/3 as a common factor. So when I took the 2/3, I divide 1/4 by 2/3. Same as multiplying by 3/2, which is 3/8. Thank you. No one watching. So that is 3/8. That is 3/8. Okay. So y is equal to 2/3. X squared minus 3/8x. We need 3/8's half. So how do I get 3/8 half? 3/8 times it by 1/2, which is 3/16. So we need the square of that. 9/256. So 9/256 minus 9/256. And then we're going to have the 4 outside. So what do we do next? All these 3 terms are perfect square. So 2/3 x minus half at 3/16, whole thing squared. Then I'm going to multiply the 2/3 by this. So minus 2/3 times 9/256 plus 4. Simplify that. Some of you didn't. 3 divided by 3 is 2 divided by that is 128. So 3/128 plus 4. We can easily simplify that. Minus 3/128 plus 4. 120 is the least common multiple. Minus 3 plus 4 times 128. Positive 509 over 128. Do not leave the answer in decimal. Make sense? What's up? You all good? You got the same answer? Where did you go wrong? So you didn't simplify that part, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So the problem is some of you have done this. You multiply 9 times 2 is 18. 256 times it by 3. So you wrote that 256 times it by 3, 768. You get a larger number to work with when you can simplify. All right. This section is required practice. You don't need to do a textbook question, but I do have A, C, G, B, D, F, and H. They are good questions. If you're not practicing it, I don't think you can master it. So the whole idea in grade 11, we had the complexity. We put decimal, we put fraction. In grade 10, we work with the whole number. All right, so we're gonna move back to here. Next one. When a given word problem that asks to find a maximum and minimum value or the greatest or least value, we can use the method of, so we can use the method of completing square. I'm gonna just fill it out. This one, we can use the completing square. We can use the method of completing square, or the other one, or the factor to determine the vertex. We're gonna see all the different examples in here. So a baseball hit in the air, most common problem. And the height of the ball, h in meters after t seconds is modeled by that. Find the maximum height of the ball. So if you want to find the maximum height of the ball, something that we're going to do, h of t, we're going to rearrange it so that it will look like the leading coefficient on the top. Any question with that? Are you guys expert in completing square? You need to speed up the process. So I want to run through this lesson so that I can cover the quadratic lesson, but you're going to do practice at home. So we're going to completing the square for this. We're going to -5 is a common factor. T squared minus 4t plus 1. H of t -5. T squared minus 4t. Minus 4 divided by 2 is -2. -2 squared is 4. -5 times -4, positive 1 plus 1. So h of t -5, t minus 2 whole thing squared plus 21. I don't need too many brackets here. I will erase this. So the question is asking, find the maximum height of the ball. That's a maximum height. Therefore, maximum height of the ball (21 meters). Chloe and Audrey, are you following what we're doing? Completing square again? Yes? Hello? It's completing square again. Nothing different. Well, saying that? All right. So now we're going to go back to the next question. The demand function for the new magazine is given by -6x plus 40, where px representing the selling price in thousands of dollars, and x is the number of magazines sold. The cost function is given by 4x plus 48. Calculating the maximum profit and the number of magazines sold, that will produce the maximum profit. So they want you to calculate the maximum profit. All right. So how are you going to calculate the maximum profit? So the profit is calculated by sold price minus cost, isn't it? Are you guys following that? So if I bought an item for $50, I'm selling for $65. Sold price is $65, cost is $50. The difference is a profit. Now, the sold price, so profit, let's call it P of X. The sold price, this is where things get interesting. PX represents selling price in thousands of dollars, and X is the number of magazines sold. Now, PX is representing the selling price. So this is the selling price of an item in thousands of dollars. To find out how much of revenue I'm making, and I need to multiply by the X, the number of items I'm selling it. The cost function is 4x plus 18. So minus the cost function. But I also need to times it by X. Amount of money I will spend to manufacture each. Are you following that picture? So in this case, P of X minus 6x squared plus 40x minus 4x squared minus 48x. So P of x minus 10x squared, and then that is going to be negative 8x. So far, so good. Hello, are you good? No, you want to go home? Now, what we don't want to do it here, we don't want to complete the square for a reason. So let's explain why I don't want to complete the square. Can I factor that easily? If I common factor x, 2x, so what would I get? 5x plus 4, isn't it? Makes sense? All right, so that is going to be that's a common factor. Now, something that you need to know. When a quadratic function f of x in the form of x minus x times x minus t, if it is in factored form, the vertex x coordinate is obtained by adding the s plus t divided by 2. When did you guys learn that? Grade 10. So example, f of x is equal to x plus 5 times x minus 2. How do I find the vertex x coordinate? I really need this to be minus x. So in other way, when this is positive, the s is going to be minus 5, t is going to be 2. Because you need middle sign to be negative. But when the middle sign is positive, then s is minus 5, t is 2. So how do I get this? Negative 1.5. Did you guys see that picture? So Kavya, did you learn that in grade 10? How to find a vertex x coordinate in factored form? Or 1 year no math? I hate the structure at schools. They're just moving the math as non-stop. I mean, semester based, you learn math, except the IB guys, they have to continuously learn math, right? Grade 11, 2 math, first semester, second semester, but the other grades, you don't open the book. I can say it's perfect example, Aaron. He doesn't have a math, but you have learned grade 10 math already, right? Okay, how are you doing in the math class?
Good.
Acing it?
I have a 96 right now. Only did one test.
Okay, so you have learned this in grade 10, what we're recalling it. That's why Harsha's teacher, what did she say? What did she say about this unit?
Oh, she's like the real on your own.
Yeah, read you on, learn by yourself, but now I'm going to test it. They're done, right? She didn't teach the lesson. All right, so what I want to do is, we want to going back to this. There's a one thing I need to figure out. I think I made a mistake in one of the function. So the profit function from this, let me check that out. Because it is not going to give me a positive answer. It's going to give me a negative answer for the x, which I don't want. X is supposed to be positive because x is some number of items sold. So let's see what's happening here. This is unit 3.3. 3.3, 3.2. All right, so I want to see okay. So minus 6x plus 40 times it by x minus, oh yeah, I don't need to times it by x. This one doesn't need to be times it by x. So that is going to be minus 4x minus 48. So we will fix that. Okay, so p of x minus 6x squared plus 36x minus 48. No, we have to complete the square here. So let's see, Adrai, what is the first step in completing the square? Negative 6 out. By the way, are they running the Tamil classes during March break?
No, not next week.
Okay. Because my son's teacher doesn't say anything. So 6x. By the way, no class for you guys next weekend. So We will meet following week. That's why I try to catch up on this unit. P of x is equal to negative 6 x squared minus 6x. What is half of 6? 3, 36. I mean 9. So now we know this is the perfect square. $54 take away 48. So calculate the maximum profit and the number of magazines sold. So this is where things get interesting. The number of magazines sold is 3. Profit is 6. Am I right? That's my vertex, isn't it? Am I right? Am I right, Bill?
Oh, yeah.
Javier, did we get that right? How about Kaja? Do you guys need to read the question? X is the number of magazines sold in thousands. So when I get X, it's 3,000. It's not 3. This is 3,000. The profit is going to be in thousands. The price, selling price, so this is price is going to be also 6,000. Are you guys following that? Aaron? Yes? You need to convert it back. Most common mistake on this questions, you're not converting it back to the unit they're specifying. So what I try to do is I try to do the most common word problem you guys gonna see. Next question is involved with geometry. Michael is building a fence in his backyard so his dog will not run away. He will be using 400 meters of fencing to build a rectangular enclosure. He will use the back of his house as one wall. So in other way, this is the wall. So he don't need any fencing here. Determine the dimension that will achieve the largest possible area. I don't know. Let's call it the width. Let's call it the length. And this is also width. W plus L plus W. How much is that equal to, Javier? Correct. That should be 400 because that's the amount of fencing I have, isn't it? The area, let's call this in terms of W, L times W. But unfortunately, I got two variables here, isn't it? I want a W. Let's isolate for L. 2W plus L is 400. So from here, 2W, L is equal to 400 minus 2W. Make sense? Kaja, are you following that? Okay, so what is AW right now? L is 400 minus 2W times it by W. Make sense? Are you following that? We are not going to complete the square in this time because it's already in factored form. So one value, I can rewrite this. The way to find S and T, to find S and T, set each one of them back to 0. 400 minus 2W back to 0. 400 is equal to 2W. W is equal to 200. We can call that S. When you set this one back to 0, that is going to be just W. T is equal to 0. So you can see we find the S and T. So vertex X coordinate is going to be S plus T divided by 2. 200 plus 1, 0 divided by 2. What did I get? 100, isn't it? So we can find the L. L is 200. 400 minus 2 times W. So L is 400 minus 200, which is going to be 200. Are you just following that? Hello. Are you guys following that? What's happening? So my vertex X coordinate here, it's giving me the W. And then using that, I was able to find out my length, isn't it? So maximum area. Length is 200. Width is 100. 20,000. What's the unit? Yes, 400 meter. 20,000 meters squared. So I'm not just spending time on you do the question, but you do the question at home. I'm doing all the type of questions. So first question is about something thrown on the air, projectile motion. So it's just about a baseball thrown or basketball thrown. The next one, we talk about a profit function. The next one, we're talking about a geometry problem. So let's moving back to the next one. This is exactly what I did. Selling the, yes, sir.
For the last one, if we already had the formula for the length earlier, then why do we have to do that?
Maximum value, sir. There are several possibilities, right?
Yeah.
But this is the only value this gives you that we find out by using completing the square or that method of finding the maximum value. This is the maximum value for the width possible to get the largest area.
Oh.
Yes, there are other possibilities there, but the process to find the maximum value. Following that? Good job. Kavya and Audrey. Don't you guys do this type of question at school? That's okay. You guys are different generation of learners. All right. More important on other distractions come along the way. Right? Good job being honest. He say that he spend most of his time on Instagram. And I know that that's what you guys do. Right? Come in, yes. And then last week, there was a fight. So I was walking on my hallway. 3 kids. It looked like it's a narrow hallway. So it's the second end of the first period. People are walking in. There's one guy's moving backward. I'm like, why he's moving backward? And then he didn't push me, but I was moving forward. There's a huge crowd come back. Suddenly I see the cameras goes up. The one guy started punching another one. And then kids are basically taking pictures. Okay, what they didn't realize that I see it. So I called the office. They were called down to the office. But I always want to make sure what admin has doing it. So I went to the office, gave my spare. Hey, did you guys get the guys got in a fight? So these guys are sitting there. And then I said, let me see the faces. Oh, yeah, he's the one punched it. Guess what? He's told the school he didn't do anything. And the principal got really upset. You told that you didn't punch anyone. But Mr. Jack told you. And he said, no, it's a retaliation measure. So I was joking, oh yeah, you just became a Justin Trudeau, just imposing retaliation measure on tariff. And then they were all like, don't call home. Please, why do you need to call home? We all peace. And I said, no, call home. And then if there's a couple of guys in Tamil, if you need translation, let me know. I can talk to them. They're never going to fight in front of my class. All right. Anyhow, that's a new generation. That's okay. So going back to the next one. This is exactly what I'm talking about the next two. The sports store sells baseball caps with the local baseball logo on them. Last year, they sold 600 caps, $15 each. Let me going back to you guys the picture here. Number of items sold, price. And then the revenue. The revenue is going to be N times price. You sell 600 items for $15 each, so the revenue is 600 times 15. Anyone have any question with that part? The store manager is planning to increase the price. The consumer survey shows that every $1 increase, there will be a drop in 30 sales. So let's increase the price by just $1. How much I will lose in sales? 30, isn't it? So this is going to be 600 minus 30 times it by 15 plus 1. I'm not doing anything. I just wrote the expression. Kavya and Audrey, are you seeing that picture? All right. So what will happen if I increase the price by $2? So 1 times 2. Can I rewrite 30 times 2 here? 260s will drop, isn't it? For every $1, you drop by $30. So if I increase 2 times, you will lose 60 sales, isn't it? So how do I calculate the revenue? 600 minus 30 times 2 times it by 15 plus 1 times 2, isn't it? I'm not going to be keep on going the pattern. But let's increment by x time 1 time x. Look at the pattern. 30 times 2. When it's 2, I get a 2. Therefore, I will get 30 times x. Like 5 times means you will lose 150 sales, isn't it? Can you see in the picture? So what is my revenue? 600 minus 30x times it by 15 plus x. Right? Are you following the math? You have seen these questions? All right. There will be a lot of questions like that. So what should be the selling price to maximize the revenue? So the revenue as a function, number of items sold times it by price per item. So it is already in factored form, isn't it? So should I complete the square to find the maximum value, sir?
Shouldn't it be 30x?
Oh yeah, 30x, yes. So what do you think? Well, should I complete the square?
No, find you use the px formula.
Exactly, S and T, isn't it? So how do I find S and T? We set this one back to 0. So we can solve for x from here. So x is 20. We set this one back to 0. So we got an x here, negative 15. This is your S. This is your T. So vertex x coordinate is S plus T divided by 2. 5 divided by 2, which is 2.5. So what should be the selling price? So selling price 15 plus 2.5 times it by 1, because x is 2.5, which is $17.50, isn't it? Make sense? So how do I find my revenue? Revenue is going to be when x is set back to 2.5. So 600 minus 30 times 2.5 plus 15 plus 2.5. You can do the math. So 600 minus 30 times 2.5 plus 17.5, 542.5. Okay. Following the math, what's happening? Aaron? All right. So you guys got a lot of questions to practice. I know it's March break, but you can do 1 or 2 questions per day to catch up on. So it shouldn't be a problem. It's the same type of question. It requires some thinking. Not quite easy. I won't say they are quite easy. You really need to think. They are really good question. Answers are there. What did you do if you get stuck? Yeah. Where would you look it up? YouTube? You think somebody did the question on YouTube? But did you think somebody did this question already on YouTube? So what did you do if you got stuck? Oh yes, use a format or ChatGPT will tell line by line how to solve it. But the problem is, even though ChatGPT is there, kids are lazy. They don't want to look at it. You know what they want to do? Let's text. Right? So let's see, the teacher will check it out. So you guys can ask ChatGPT to explain the problem. We'll clearly explain. I use ChatGPT to mark. Do you guys want to see how I'm marking on ChatGPT? All right. My computer science. I teach computer science classes after this at 4:40 to 6:40. I have 1 class. So this is the advanced placement computer science class. So the kids wrote a mock exam. it will take me a time that if I want to go through every answers. So I'm just gonna going back to show you how I mark it. So this is a student solution. I feed the solution into not ChatGPT. We have Microsoft Copilot. You guys see that? So look at this. So solution, it's copy the solution and give it a feedback. It's actually mark solution and give a feedback. Imagine that somebody want to type this solution feedback. It just exactly say what's went wrong, and it's clearly highlighted the keyword. If I want to mark my style, it'll just take me 15 minutes for one word. Feed it. You guys know Dragon's Den? Yes. What do you know about Dragon's Den?
Students go after school.
That is that's your Dragon's Den at your school. I'm not talking about that Dragon's Den. So Dragon's Den is a program. It's called to CBC, where if you have an idea, you go and pitch your idea in front of the investors. So there are people who has money will come and watch your show, and then you need to be just request that you want to pitch it, and then if the investors like your idea, you will tell how much of money you will pay them back. So you can say, if my company is gone, I will give you 20% of the stake of my company. Yes.
Like Shark Tank. Yeah.
Which one?
Shark Tank.
Yeah, yeah, very similar to that. So a teacher from Vancouver, he actually created an app. It's called SweetGrade. So he developed an app. He's a physics teacher, and then marking physics can take a long time. All he has to do is simply scan each pages. He just feed the solution with each breakdown of the marks, and then scan it. 40 seconds to mark each test. So he pitched that he needs $50,000 to develop. And then everyone's shocked and surprised. And they actually pitch him $50,000. So $20,000 for the stake. So the company makes a profit that they will pay 20%. So 3 people, yes, let's go. And then they develop the app, right? So you can always ask ChatGPT for help. So the best way these questions will work out, you try it. You try on ChatGPT, it doesn't work, then I can explain this work out. But you need to do a lot of questions here. So now we're going back to the next part of the game. Finding the inverse. We have seen how to find the inverse. So let's going back to finding the inverse process we have learned last class. X squared plus 6x plus 8. So they will give you, instead of y, they're going to give you f of x. So Agare, what is the first step in finding the inverse?
You find what times to 8. Oh, you derive the 6 like this. You learned this in school.
So what do you think I did last class? I need to talk to your dad today. Simply saying that we didn't learn the school, even though I told her in here. How do we find the inverse? What's the strategy we have to talk about? You were here when I talked about it. It was a snowy day. We talk about inverse function. Kajai, you were here.
Flip the line to X.
Exactly. But before that, what did I do?
You change f of X to Y.
You change the f of x to y. I think we need to go back to Sri Lankan style punishment. Thopu Karanam. Anyone know what a Thopu Karanam is? Yes, it's worked out. You know Thopu Karanam? You go to temple, you're living in Richmond Hill. Don't you go to Richmond Hill temple? Okay, what do the people do in front of the god Ganapati? Just pray. You never see people just stand up and then bring their ears down. That's called Thopu Karanam. And then there's a common punishment in Sri Lanka. It's actually work out. It's actually increase the blood circulation to your brain, and then you started the thing. Yes. It's real.
Your ears start going down like this, and then soon our ears become alligators. It's like, woo.
So it's work out in Sri Lanka. All right. So as I'm following Kaja's steps, so we're going to check this one back. Y squared plus 6y plus 8. So Whale, what is the next step, sir? Kaja, what is the next step? Solve, isolate for y, isn't it? But here's a problem with this. Can I isolate for y easily? We got y squared and y. Can I do that easily? There's no way I can do that. So for example, if you guys y is equal to 2x plus 3, then x is equal to 2y plus 3. x minus 3 is equal to 2y. So y is equal to x minus 3 divided by 2, which is my f inverse of x. Asha, do you remember these things we talk about? Okay, but the problem here is you got a y squared term. I cannot complete the square like this. I mean, I cannot isolate for the variable y like this. Then what we're gonna do? We're gonna complete the square. You are all expert. Half of 6 is 9, right? So far so good. Yes. Now interchange x with y. X with y. Copy down. It's not there. I'm just doing my example. Then we're gonna go back. Then we're gonna move the one to the other side. Now to find out y, I'm gonna take the square root both sides. Plus or minus sign will come. So y is equal to -3 plus or minus square root of x plus 1. Are you guys following the process? So in order to be completing the square for a quadratic relation, you have to, in order to find the inverse of a quadratic relation, you must need to complete the square. That is why we spend time on doing that. So I want to see how would you guys do. One question for me. Okay, can you guys complete the square, please? Can you guys find the inverse, please? Find the inverse of the function. If you understand my example, find the inverse. How's your robotic team is doing? Other way.
Yeah. I don't really know about it, but it was on like an Instagram story yesterday. They're like at, I don't know, I forgot the name. It was like Centennial or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see the progress of that. If you guys understand the previous one. You guys, so yes, that's correct. So you complete the square, and then yeah, that's right. Correct. That's right. Yes. You need a calculator to find out what is -25 plus 7 is. Okay. All right. Complete the square. This is my 10th example I'm doing in completing the square. Did you complete the square?
Apple? Square?
Did you complete the square for the function? You didn't. All right. Correct. But who's going to find the inverse? Find the inverse after you complete the square. We share this for him. You done, sir?
Yeah.
Cool. You done? Confuse this letter, man. What is this letter? That's your y. And then you got a y and y in both places. Not b. All right. So I think that you guys got the idea of completing the square, which is good. We need to see how to find the inverse. So x is equal, y is equal to, what is half of 10? 5, 25. And what do we do? X plus 18, y plus 5, whole thing squared. So x plus 18 square root with the plus or minus sign is y plus 5, isn't it? So y is minus 5 plus or minus square root of x plus 8. Makes sense? All right, so now we're going to going back to see what to do. Given the quadratic function y is equal to x squared, graph f of x and the inverse. State the domain and the range of the f of x and the inverse. Determine whether the inverse is a function. So how are we going to sketch it? Absolutely, we don't have a grid, so I'm going to show you how we can sketch it. Take your ruler, draw the axis. So this is going to be 0. That is, let's call 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, 4 here. And then that's going to be minus 1, that's going to be minus 2, that's going to be minus 3, that's going to be minus 4. That's going to be 1, that's going to be 2, that's going to be 3, that's going to be 4. That's enough for me to sketch it. 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 4. Right? So how that will look like? That is my x squared curve. So caveat, we learned some technique last class to draw the inverse. What is the technique we deploy to draw the inverse if the graph is given? Correct, we flip the coordinate. So if I flip the coordinates, 0, 0 is going to be here. 1, 1 is going to be 1, 1. Minus 1, 1 is going to be, so if I flip this minus 1, 1, so I get minus 1, comma 1. That's going to be 1, comma minus 1. So it's going to become over here. I get 2, comma 4. It's going to become 4, comma 2. So 4, comma 2 is here. And then similarly 4, comma negative 2 here. So that is negative 1, negative 2. So my inverse is going to be something like this. Makes sense? You see in the picture? I'm not really worried about the domain on range of f of x, but let's write the domain of f of x is x belong to real. Range of f of x is y belong to real, where y is greater than or equal to 0, isn't it? But let's see what's happening inverse. So let's going back to Harsha. What is the domain of the green function, Harsha?
So x is real number, so x has to be greater or equal to 0.
Correct, because we are starting from here, isn't it? Does everyone see the picture? The range of f inverse of x, it's no restriction. But if you really noticed what's happening, the domain became my range, and then my range became my domain. Is everyone see the picture? Yes. Okay. Following that. So that's a property of inverse function. All right. So if you guys understand it, your goal is to do number 2, graph the inverse. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to be ask Aaron to just hold it here, that so it won't go disappear. So can you guys do the next question? Graph the quadratic function and then graph its inverse. Let's see who remembers. How many of you know how to draw the quadratic functions? What do you do to draw it? Let me see.
I didn't. I just got it.
1 minus 5. That's not right. Which one is that? This one?
Oh no, this one.
Which one is this? This one?
Yeah.
So your vertex is 1 comma minus 5. 1 supposed to be on the right side of the x, isn't it? All right. Let's see. Already sketched the inverse. What is your strategy? How you sketching? How you sketching? Okay. And then what is that? That's a sketch. Okay, so it's look like. So did I teach you how to sketch a quadratic function? What step? How do what's the steps? How would you sketch a quadratic function in vertex form? Sorry?
Use the mapping rule.
One way, but I don't want to use the mapping rule. What's the easiest way to draw it? What did you learn? What did your teacher have told you to draw the quadratic function? All right, guys. A quadratic function can be drawn easily using step pattern. So let me show you what is the step pattern is. First step, we're going to be identify the vertex. What is the vertex? 1, comma, minus 5, isn't it? Kavya? Okay. Next step, the step pattern says every y value from the vertex up or down will increasing by the following pattern. 1, 3, 5, dot, dot, dot. So what does that mean? What is the a value? 2, isn't it? They say every values will be increasing by the following sequence. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 3 is? 2 times 5 is? 10. Let me show you how does it work. When I come down of the 1, I got a 2. When I come down, I got 3. I got 0 minus 1. Let me show you how to do that. The first value coming down, you will increment by 2. Because that's what it says. Minus 5 plus 2 is negative 3. From here, you add 6, you get the next value. Negative 3 plus 6 is positive 3. Similarly, when you go immediately back, these values will come back. All I did it, the pattern is 8 times 1, 3, 5. It's always the pattern. It's called the step pattern. So why this is the step pattern? Let's look at this. Let me going back to this graph. Minus 3, 9. Minus 2, 4. Minus 1, 1. 0, 0. 1, 1. 2, 4, 3, 5, isn't it? I mean 3, 9, isn't it? Are you seeing the picture? Let's look at this guy. From the vertex, this goes by 1, this goes by 3, this goes by 5, isn't it? So we can apply that. If the vertex is multiplied by the a, we multiply by the a. So it's easy to sketch it. So it's a perfect sketch without mapping notation. I'm expecting your grade 10 teacher have taught this. Did we learn that, Aaron, in here? Mapping notation?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just want to make sure Aaron say that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. So let's mark my vertex. 1, comma, negative 5. That's my vertex. And then 0, comma, minus 3. 0, comma, minus 3. Negative 1, comma, 3. Negative 1, comma, negative 1, comma, 3. 2, comma, minus 3. 3, comma, 3. We can nicely draw that function. Did you draw that same graph? I don't think so. You draw a completely different graph, right? Are you guys following how I generate the pattern? This is the step pattern, pretty easy. From the vertex, you simply add 8 times 1, 8 times 3, right? You can see that. I start from the vertex, then I add the 2. Then from this number, I add the second value, 6. Kavya, did you look at step pattern? Okay, how about you, sir? Okay, so now determine the equation of the inverse. Well, we have seen how to do the inverse, but we're going to graph the inverse. You know why it's easy to graph the inverse? Because I know the step pattern. So let me flip the coordinate. 3, comma, minus 1. 3, comma, minus 1 is here. Then minus 3, comma, 0. Minus 3, comma, 0 is here. Minus 5, comma, 1. Minus 5, comma, 1. Minus 5, comma, 1 is here. Minus 3 comma 2. Minus 3 comma 2 is here. 3 comma 3. If I flip it, that's still 3 comma 3. It's here. Look at that beauty. You can easily sketch the inverse when you got those mapping notation done. Everyone see the picture? I'm not really worried about determining the equation because you're an expert now. We're going to divide it by 2. Y minus 1 whole thing squared. Y minus 1 square root of plus or minus x plus 5 over 2. So therefore, y is equal to 1 plus or minus square root of x plus 5 over 2, which is basically f inverse of x. I'm just checking it. Yeah, that's almost done with that inverse. So each graph shows the function f that is parabola, branch of parabola. Find the following. Determine the f of x. Grab the inverse. Take the restriction on the domain. So let's going back to how to find the equation. To find the equation of a parabola, we can always going back to the vertex form. Kaja, what is the vertex, man?
-2 -9.
Correct. So x plus 2 and minus 9, isn't it? Are you saying that? If it's a vertex one, pretty easy. Then how would I find the value of a? Plug a point. Yes, let's plug a point. 1 comma 0. So 0 when x is 1. Three squared is 9. A is equal to 1. The question is asking, graph the inverse. I'm not worried about it. You know how to do the inverse. You're the expert on that. This is 3.3 from the textbook. You have the digital textbook posted on the Google Classroom. So you can still do the math because it's digital. All you need is access to an internet device. So when you're going to your vacation in Mexico, Cuba, or New York, wherever you go, take a piece of paper. That's it. And your laptop. Right? All right. These are the questions highlighted for you to practice. I know it's needed time. It's needed time. Right, Aaron? But your mom told me that you have enough time. Right? Yes, you all have enough time. All right, we're going to moving back to the next part. It's called operation with radicals. And then following the operation with radicals, so what do we have is operation with radicals. Following with operation with radicals, it's going to be 3.5. Yes, it's basically solved in quadratic equation, which is pretty straightforward. I will pull through. And then after quadratic equation is families of polynomials. If I'm right, after quadratic equation, we got family. So it's a pretty straightforward unit. So let's see what is radical is. I know you won't like radicals, but we're going to move back to radicals. Okay. So a radical is basically in any expression inside the square root. So for example, square root of 8 is a radical. You might have a little number sitting in front of it that is also a radical. So a radical with a coefficient 1 and the mixed radical, a radical might have number in front of it. So what we want to do is express each radicals in a mixed radical. The task is pretty straightforward. You're going to be asked yourself, how would you split the 72 into two numbers such that one number is a perfect square? 3 and 9, 3 times
8 times 9.
8 times 9 is 72. Yes, she's right. But 8 times 9, I can going back to 72, 8 times 9. So why Harsha said that 9 has a perfect square, isn't it? So how do I do that after that? We can split the radicals. Square root of 8 times square root of 9. What is square root of 9? 3. But the question for you, Kavya, can I break the square root of 8 further into two numbers such that one of them is a perfect square? So perfect, yes. So perfect square as a 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 30. Correct. So I can break that into 4 and 2. So why we are doing that? We can further split into square root of 4 times square root of 2. What is square root of 4? 2, isn't it? 3 times 2 is 6. So I'm going to split it 6 root 2. Now what I want to do is, this is correct. This is absolutely correct. But if you're good with the numbers, you can actually rewrite this 36 times it by 2. Isn't it? 36 times it by 2 is 72, isn't it? That's therefore square root of 36 times square root of 2. What is square root of 36? 6 root 2. Okay. So let's go back to Will. Can you tell me, sir, how can I split 75 so that I can get a perfect square?
25 and 3.
Correct. So we can rewrite this square root of 25 times it by 3, which is square root of 25 times square root of 3, which is 5 root 3. And a half. Oh, Kevin, how do I split the 27, sir?
Square root of 9 and square root of 3. So
Correct.
square root of 9
So
will turn.
9 times 3 will work. This 5 times square root of 9 times square root of 3. What is square root of 9? Is 3. So 5 times 3 root 3, which is 15 root 3, isn't it? Make sense? All right. How would I split 24 so that one number might be a perfect square? Correct. 4 and what?
4 and 4. 4 and
It's okay. You don't need to know the time table because you have a calculator. 4 times 6. Square root of 4 times square root of 6. 2 root 3.
No.
1. Yes.
Gun down. They tried
Hold
to
on.
drop the gun now.
Okay. You got to mute yourself, sir. All right.
Go.
The way we memorize the timetable, we don't have a juicy mass. But what's used to happen in the elementary school, every day, the elementary school teacher has to tell you second timetable, third timetable. If you made a mistake, they have a big cane. And then they beat us up, even in grade 6. And my grade 6 teacher has different punishment. If you don't know the timetable, he pinch on your ears. He said, yeah, I have a teacher. I still go and see him every time I go to Sri Lanka, take him to the restaurant. So if you get less than 3 out of 5 questions on the science test, he just pinch it. He will make sure to have these 2 nails going up. It will touch.
Don't.
It will touch.
Gun down. They tried to rob me. Drop the gun now.
What is that? Kevin? What? Kevin, what is that, man? Kevin? What movie is that? What movie is that?
I was trying to open Desmos and it showed an ad.
All right. Now we're going back to changing back to the anti-radical, which is easy. So if you move the 4 inside, you square it. So what is square 4 squared? 16, isn't it? Square it up. 90. Are you guys following that? I think I made a mistake. That's 80. All right. Some of them are not easy. I will do that for practice. Most common mistake, you can actually move just the 6. Keep the minus outside. 6 squared is 36. 108. Right, Kavya, are you following that what's happening? Oh. What? Oh, you have learned that in school. Did they already taught you? Okay. So now this one is ugly. This is ugly. Why it is ugly? You need to know if you have n root x, this is mean x to the power of 1 over n. So this is 3 times 4 to the power of 1/5. If you want to bring the 3 inside, you need to take the 5th power. Make sense? Guys, we are squaring here, isn't it? Square root mean 4 to the power of 1/2. If I want to take anything inside the square root, I square it. But if I want to take anything inside the exponent 1/5, we're going to take the 3 to the power of 5. So that is going to be 4 times 3 to the power of 5, root 5 outside. 3 to the power of 5, 243. Times it by 4, 972. Everyone seen the picture? All right. So now, very similar to adding and subtracting polynomial expression, we can add and subtract radicals. So let's see some example. Likely term, 9 root 6 minus 4 root 6 plus 2 root 5 minus 9 root 5. 9 minus 4 is 5 root 6. 2 minus 9 is negative 7 root 5. Everyone see that picture? How do you do that? Is apple plus apple question. So I group the apples together. So the apples together based on the radical. We don't care about the number. We can group the apples together if the radical merging, right? Well, seeing the picture? Now this one little ugly. So let's see what we can do. So this is cube root of 16, cube root of 255, cube root of 2. The only time you can collect them if I have 4 cube root of 16 minus 2 cube root of 5, cube root of 2 cube root of 16, then I can collect it. 4 minus 2, 2 cube root of 16. Inside the radical, do we have the same number? Asha? Inside the radical, do we have the same number? Huh? Where's the 216? I'm talking about this example. Number 4. You got a 16, I got a 250, I got a 2, isn't it? Are you seeing the picture? So there's no way I can collect it. There's no way I can collect it. But we can do something to collect it. So let's see. I'm going to rewrite them back. 16 to the power of 1/3. This is 250 to the power of 1/3. This is 2 to the power of 1/3. Are you seeing the picture? My question here is, can I break it such a way something happened? Let's do some magic. So far, so good. 16, can I write 16 as 2 to the power of 3 times 2 to the power of 1? Anyone have any question with that? 250. I can write 250, 125 times it by 2. And I'm not touching that. Anyone have any question on that part? 125 times it by 2 is 250, isn't it? Kavya? Okay. Now, you know exponent rules in grade 9. That's distribute 2 to the power of 1/3. This is 125. I can rewrite 5 cubed. This is canceled. This is 2 times 2 to the power of 1/3. This is 5 cubed times it by 1/3 times it by 2 to the power of 1/3. Let's rewrite them. This is 2 times cube root of 2. This is 5 times cube root of 2. And this is simply cube root of 2, isn't it? So let's look at this. This one became this, isn't it? But I have a 4 in front of it. So 4 times 2 is 8 cube root of 2. Minus. This guy became this. I have a 3 in front of it. If I do 5 times 3, 15 cube root of 2. Then my apple is sitting there. Now you can see all of them apple. 8 apple minus 15 apples, negative 7 apple plus 3 apple is going to be negative 4 apples, isn't it? Negative 4 apples. So what is my apple? So there is good amount of practice with the radicals. We will moving back to the radicals on, today is 9. So we're not meeting next week. You guys got a break for the next week. We're going to meet following week. Yes, makes sense. So you can move your trip to Florida. I'll tell your mom. He has been done the homework. All right. The others, I don't have a plan, but I want to take my son out. Right. It's going to be a random somewhere I will leave. So, oh, somebody is. I'm not sure who is here. Who wanted where to go? So, is that your dad? Want to take the Tamil classes here? Okay, sir. We don't have a class next week. I will see you 2 weeks from now. 1 week after. Kevin.